So you found the match, right. So there's your question, there's your answer. Okay, adults can't go, only children. What do you think that goes with? Ah, perfect. So can you put it in the right place? Where does it go? Okay, boys.
What is the reason why?
The Year 5 teachers and I have worked in partnership to plan and teach 2 of the IPC units. That's persuasive and a narrative. IPC is the International Primary Curriculum Unit. So it's allowed us to be quite creative, and what we've done is I've ensured that it's underpinned with all these sort of EAL pedagogy and strategies. So there's been lots of opportunities for speaking and listening, time to practice, rehearse, explore and play with language before they actually come to any sort of the written tasks.
I said today that we were going to write an advert to convince other children to buy The Wonderful Flight to the Mushroom Planet. What bookshop were we working in? We were working in Belmont Books, and we were going to write our advert that was going to appear in our window that told people to come and buy that book from us. Okay? What did I say we were going to use? How am I going to convince people?
Yesterday we had like a list of things we were writing, descriptive language and a lot of wow words and persuasive text.
I'm going to use persuasive techniques. Excellent, I'm going to use persuasive techniques. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to talk to your talk partner and remind them of all the persuasive techniques.
Exaggeration, repetition, facts and statistics, and rhetorical question. Yeah, that's about it, I think. And wow words and
Tell me one thing that you would use if you were going to try to be persuasive.
emotive language.
What do you mean by emotive language?
Open someone's heart, like something like that. Like you appeal to someone.
Excellent, I appeal to them by pulling on their heartstrings. Fantastic, that was a good one. Ibrahim.
Rhetorical questions.
What do you mean a rhetorical question?
It makes you think about the thing that you're saying.
Why do I need the person to think about Ibrahim?
So they could like buy your item.
So they can buy my
Book.
So a book. Good job, Rashmi.
You need to use exaggeration to grab the reader's attention. You could use P, like point, evidence, and explanation.
You can use repetition, like keep on saying buy this book, buy this book, buy this book.
Excellent, I'm going to use repetition. Why?
So then they keep on hearing it, then they keep on remembering, I want to buy mushrooms, the wonderful flight to the mushroom planet.
I've definitely seen a difference, and obviously there's some progress and development there as well, and there's probably some techniques that they may not have been used before, which I've introduced and we've done in partnership. So I think that's been quite empowering. So that's been very good, and I think the way that they're approaching and thinking about the lessons, you know, that sort of real sequencing and scaffolding, and thinking about sentence openers and structure for the children to explore and play with language before they come to written tasks is evident in the sort of flip charts and in the planning now. So what was P? Can we remember what the P was?
Yes.
All the hands should be up. All of the hands should be up for this one. Oh, I think if your hand's not up, I might ask you first. What's the P? Oh, Mrs. Patel gave it away then. Okay, what's the P? For a point. So that's the point that you're trying to make, isn't it? It's what you want to say about the text. Okay, hands back down. Okay, evidence. Nobody knows this one. What is the evidence? Where do we find the evidence?
Quotes from the text to support your point.
Did you just read that? Did you read that from the board? Is that mine from before? Excellent. So that's good. It's quite. I am really pleased as well, because that's a beautiful Mushroom Planet board, isn't it? Okay. So that's our evidence. Now I suppose asking about the explanation. Anyone who can see that can answer it. Very good. Because you didn't have your hand up before. What was the explanation?
A comment is either on style or on your personal reaction starting with a hook phrase.
Perfect. So it's a comment either on the start or on your personal reaction, starting with a hook phrase. What was the hook phrase? What examples of hook phrases did I give you? Can anybody remember any of those hook phrases? You had them on a nice coloured card. Yes.
This shows.
This shows. That was one of them. Oh, that was your hands up now. See. What was another one?
Surely you must agree.
Surely you must agree. That wasn't one of the hook phrases. That's what you've used for one of your persuasive promotional ideas this week, yes?
This clearly shows that.
Oh, this clearly shows that. I have for you some cards. This game is called a quiz trade activity, okay? Me and Miss Dave will just show you how it works. On each card, there's a question and an answer, okay? So you ask your partner the question. If they don't know the answer, it doesn't matter. You're going to give them the answer, okay? But this is to check how well you've understood and remember parts of the story. So I'm going to ask Miss Dave, I'm going to test her now. The Great Tar plans to do something Mebanoru. What was he going to do? Oh, come on, Miss Dave. The class know.
Can't quite remember. Was it to feed him or was
I'll give you the answer. It was to behead. Okay.
That's it.
Now, Miss, I forgot to give Miss Dave a card. That was cheeky. Right, Miss Dave, can you ask me your question, please?
Why did Chuck and David have to take food with them?
In case they got hungry?
To survive in space.
Ah, to survive in space. So when we've listened to each other's question and the answer, we swap cards. That's the trade. So we quizzed each other, then we trade the cards, and you go to somebody else. There you go. As soon as you get your cards, you're off.
Why did Chuck and David have to take food with them?
To survive.
Correct.
Where does the magic plant grow? Was it at the magical water?
Place of the hidden water.
Yay!
Jenny?
Why could Mr. Bass not go to Pacific?
Was it because he wasn't a child?
Because adults can't go, only children.
Oh, okay. My question. Who is the mascot?
Mrs. Penfeather.
Excellent. Well done. Today's aim is to be able to persuade someone to read The Mushroom Planet, okay? So we're going to use your knowledge of the book to attract readers' attention. You're going to use short, simple and appealing sentences. What does appealing mean? If something's appealing, what does that mean? Brianne?
That catches your attention.
Yes, you're going to try and catch the reader's attention and you're going to be writing a blurb, okay? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to speak to the person sitting next to you and answer those 3 questions. What is a blurb? Where can you find one? And what is the purpose of a blurb? Off you go.
A blurb is right at the back of the story.
Okay, so we can find it at the back of a story or at the back of a...
Blurb.
At the back of a...
Book.
At the back of a book, okay. Bianca, why do we have a blurb?
Because if instead of reading the whole book, you can read the piece of text and then you can find a little bit of the story what it's about.
Here are some blurbs. Okay, so this is for the Enchanted Wood. Joe, Beth and Franny move right next door to an enchanted wood and discover the faraway tree with its many different lands. They make new friends, slide down the slippery slip, and go to a fancy dress feast in the land of birthdays. Discover a magical new world with Moonface, Saucepan Man, and Silky the Fairy. Interesting. Okay, I've got some questions there. How many sentences are in that blurb? What do you notice about the language? Just have a think. In a minute, we're going to do some group work on this. Have a think. Would you want to read that story? In groups, about the blurb. What is it about the blurb? How does it make you feel? What about the blurb will make you want to read it? Okay. How does the author entice you? Okay. Is it very long? Nova, how many sentences are in a blurb roughly?
2.
Maximum.
1 paragraph.
It's a paragraph, isn't it? Except Timu.
I think it's 8 sentences maximum.
8? Who thinks 8? I think 8's a little bit much. Probably have less than that. Have a look at your blurb and see how many sentences are in that one and what kind of language is being used.
4, and then this is the last one.
Oh yeah, I think 5.
There's 5. No.
Yeah, 5. I said 4.
There's 1, 2.
No, there's 1.
Anna Jones group are looking at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory blurb, and at the end here it says, join Charlie in this irresistible world famous story. Now I asked Anna Jan, why is that word join important? Join Charlie, why is that important, Anna Jan?
It's important because it's like getting inside the book, and then it's like persuading you to read the book.
Yeah, and what was it that you said? You said that it means you're inviting the reader to
read it.
Yeah, to read in and join in the fun with the characters, isn't it? Excellent. So think about that language there. Top tips for writing a blurb, okay? Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple, okay? So that you grab the reader's attention. Use some key words. So this is your V on the VCOP, vocabulary, okay? Like secret. Is it a mystery? Is it betrayal? Is it an adventure? Is it scientific? What kind of story is it? Think of your key language that you've been using, okay? Don't describe the whole story. Just give the reader an idea of what the book is about and who the main character is. The blurb should be written in a similar voice to the book. So if it's a comedy, the blurb should maybe be a little bit funny. If it's science fiction, there should maybe be a scientific theme to the blurb, okay? If it's a romantic story, then the blurb's going to feel slightly romantic, okay? So your blurb needs to be the same as the book, okay? And remember to edit the blurb carefully so that there's no spelling mistakes. Because can you imagine if you picked up a book and you saw spelling mistakes on the back? Would you want to read it? No, okay? But that comes right at the end.
Join Chuck and David from building a rocket to flying into space. Can these two brave boys help their faithful friend Mr. Bass and save his fellow friends in Basidium X? Racing against time, will they ever come back to Earth alive?
Ooh, leaves you in suspense. Well done. That's brilliant. Thank you, Rayanne.
If you enjoy reading fiction books, come and read The Wonderful Flight to the Mushroom Planet. Imagine you are in a strange planet. What would you do?
Excellent. Well done. Becoming more aware of the difficulties that children who speak English as their second language has enabled me to make sure there's a lot more resources and prompts available for them whilst they're in the lessons. So there's a lot more visual cues on the board, there's a lot more written examples, as earlier on today you saw that we'd given them examples to work with. Because they don't use the language at home, it's really important to make sure we provide that language for them, and then hopefully the more they practice using it, it will eventually become part of their everyday English, which will in effect improve not just their speaking but their writing as well.
I think in the future we've now come up with a formula that we see works in the classroom, that the children are enjoying, and it's producing fantastic results. So I know going forward it's something that I'll always think about first, and what do I want them to do, what is a technique that they're going to, and giving them the skills that they need. Whereas I think before we kind of approach teaching a bit differently. It's like, this is what I want them to do, but not actually giving them the structure and the modelling that they need. So we start our week on Monday teaching the skills, leading to their independent writing on the Friday. So I tell them exactly what I'm looking for, and then we actually see it in their writing on Friday.